All right, so I have 11:34, which means we'll get started, especially now that Becky's here. And if anybody else joins us on Zoom, then that's all the better. So today we are going to talk about how to create QR codes using my favorite tool, which is Canva. QR codes, if you guys remember several years ago, they were kind of a thing, took off a little bit, and then basically disappeared. Well, enter a pandemic that is ravaging the globe, and QR codes suddenly made a big comeback. You probably saw them a lot in restaurants and other public places where you needed to get quick information, particularly on displays is where they would show up, or on printed documents, on tabletops, on promotional gear. That is typically where you would see them pop up. I think the most common place I saw them was most likely a restaurant.
Yeah, that's where I saw them in Hawaii.
Which took the place of a menu. And what is so great about QR codes is that it's a little tiny box that you open up your camera on your smartphone, you hover over it, and then it's going to redirect you to a link. So the cool thing is, if you want to drive traffic to any link at all, this would be a very innovative way to do that. Think about documents like maybe a frequently asked questions. Think about the types of questions that you're asked constantly, and then create a page within your website that the QR code can point them to.
So you have multiple QR codes that go to different places in your website.
You can have multiple QR codes. If you have a generic site that you want to drive traffic to, by all means. I think this works really, really well if you can redirect them, like use a QR code that sends them to what's called a landing page that asks them for their information, because then it's a twofer. Say that part of giving you their email address or their name and their email address, then they can have a free download by giving you their email address. That's a twofer. You're providing them with something that they deem valuable, but also you're collecting their correct contact information, or what we hope to be correct contact information.
The download would be the information page that you made, or what?
Yes.
Okay.
So a landing page is what we saw from Jared James a second ago, right? So we were listening to a webinar and he said, hey, just go to jaredjamestoday.com/download and you'll get my freebies, no questions asked. What he didn't tell you is that in order to get the freebies, you have to complete this little form. This is called a landing page. So what he's doing is, yes, he's giving you access to his free downloads, but only and until or unless you provide your name and your email address. He's not going so far as to require your phone number, but if you guys will see here, there is a requirement for your name and your email. And only then does that door unlock to be able to download the resources that he provided for us. You guys can do the same thing. So whether that's a market report or a list of your favorite places that you love in the community, or a community resources document for newcomers, or something that is what I would call evergreen, right? So it's not anything you have to update regularly. That's just one more thing that you'd have to maintain. This needs to be an evergreen document that can service buyers, sellers, investors, renters, but also be of value. So think about what that could be. And that is something that you could point your QR code to. Or maybe you are pointing them to a Google form. Maybe the QR code points them to a Google form that allows them to share with you their needs or their wants. For example, if you have business cards and you want to have the QR code that sends them to the Google form that has them fill it out, maybe it's a link to a form for their personal information, because you just want to make sure that whoever you come into contact with, that you give their card, that you can get their information.
What they're looking for, yeah.
I think they're far more curious. Like QR codes work really well to generate information, to provide them with information, just like a menu does. Like you have to think about it from a consumer point of view. Why would I want to scan the QR code? Where is that going to bring me? And why do I care?
The benefit of it.
If you can answer that question, that is where you need to redirect your QR code to. That's why I think it's very valuable. Like if you have an FAQ page, because y'all are asked the same questions all the time. It could be like a step-by-step. Here's the top 10 steps if you want to buy a house or if you want to sell a house, and you put them on the same PDF document. that you share, like you get that shareable link in Google Drive, that link is where you can point your QR code. Okay. So think about it from a consumer's perspective and think about it whenever it's you. Why would you want to explore where that QR code takes you? What's in it for you? Okay. So when you think about when people are calling and asking you questions, that matters to them. Otherwise, they wouldn't pick up the phone. So translate those questions into a document that you create. You could create it as a Word document. You could create it as a Canva document with your contact information, your photo, your logo, make it look amazing. Upload that PDF document into Google Drive, right click, get the shareable link. That link now becomes the link that you attach your QR code to. Okay, so it's not just web pages, if that's intimidating. It could literally be a document, but it needs to be evergreen, meaning it's not going to be irrelevant in the summer or the winter or anywhere in between. Needs to be something that lasts you
Like
throughout
evergreen.
all the seasons and all the different months of the year.
I like that word that you're using, evergreen, where that sounds so pretty.
Oh, thanks. Also, I think this is a really good idea. You know how we talk about being everywhere, kind of that omnipresent, as Corey Block would say. And I think a really great idea is to create a PDF that maybe has all ways that they can find you or contact you, either online, in person, on social media. For example, maybe the document has your photo, it's got your name, it has your email, it has your office number, it has your cell phone number, it has your website address, it has pictures or icons of all the different places where you have a presence on social media. You could put your name, how they find you on those things, or your handles, as Twitter and Instagram would call it. Maybe it also, you include the different platforms, like maybe you have a header on that document that says, here's where to leave a review. And you have the Google My Business icon, you have a Facebook icon, you have God help us, a Zillow icon, right? All of these different things where if you were to have that QR code on anything, that would bring them to every possible way to reach you or contact you or find you or connect with you.
If you are those only beneficial, and I feel like I know the answer, but are they already only beneficial in person, or can you send that to somebody, the QR code, and it still help them, or would it only really work in
That's what
person?
I was curious. Like,
Yeah.
if I had texted it to someone, how would they access it if they're
Yeah.
on their
You
phone?
wouldn't.
You can't.
You wouldn't.
I didn't think
These
so.
work
Put
well
a picture.
in a tangible
Okay,
way.
that's what I
So
was
if
thinking.
you're giving them a document, for
Okay.
example, maybe you go on a listing appointment. Okay, here's a good way to use this. You go on a listing appointment and everybody kind of has their own set of documents that they bring with them, whether it's Remax market share, us against the industry. Those are very popular. Whatever. Everybody has their own kind of packet that they bring with them. A QR code would be phenomenal, either printed on the folder itself that you give to them or on every single document that's yours, that's not like the listing contract or the listing agreement, right?
Mhm.
So any of the things that you guys are preparing that you include with you, that is where you need to put that QR code, so that when they have those papers, they can hover their phone over it, scan it, and be brought to something online. Whether it's a duplicate of that, maybe it's a checklist, maybe it links to a Google sheet that also serves as a checklist. Here's all the documents that you need, Mr. First-Time Homebuyer, if you plan to be pre-approved by a lender, and you send them to that checklist, or you send them to a form where they can upload it. There are literally no limits to what you can do with these QR codes. You just have to be able to think ahead as a consumer of what would make it easier for them, but also what would make it easier for you.
Do you save it on your homepage? So like, say, I'm thinking of the one with the information for like networking events or anything. You can always
Sure.
rip it out into, so that's what you would do, is just save it on the homepage, the QR code?
Yes.
Okay. Cool.
You put it on a QR code.
I
They
do like it on the business.
They
cards,
do
like
not
you
work to answer your question specifically. You would never send a QR code electronically. It's redundant. You would just send them the link. That's all you would
Yeah,
do,
okay.
because there's no way for them to scan that code from within their device.
said. Yeah.
Okay, it doesn't work that way, but it would work on a coffee cup. It would work on a remote as a sticker printed out. Any kind of swag.
It would work
Maybe
on a
your
poster if you're
it would
at
work
an
on a
event, yeah.
poster. If you wanted to give these away as a pot buy, you could have them printed right there
Like
with a little
stickers.
thing that says, like, for more information, please. If you're doing pot
So
buys
good.
and you print stickers out that you're going to slap onto your cake that you're going to bring for Christmas time or your pies, You're going to have a sticker that you're going to pop on there that says, I'm thankful for you, with a little QR code. Sometimes just out of pure curiosity, they'll scan them.
Did
But
you put scan here? Do you think that there's enough? I mean, I know what they are now over the last year,
Mhm.
but I'm thinking about generationally, like older people.
you
Do
could.
you think you need to put scan them with your phone, or do you think that most people now know it?
I don't see any instructions ever.
Yeah, me neither.
I don't think it's a bad idea though.
Yeah,
To do it, just so that you do kind of answer, you're anticipating that question.
Yeah.
You could literally do like 3 steps. Open your camera, hover it over the QR code, tap the link.
mhm,
1, 2, 3, make it
Yeah.
real simple.
Just but for more information.
That's right.
yeah.
That's exactly right. For more information, here's your steps, and this will take you, to get that information. But, I always kind of think like rule of thumb, it really works well in like 3D environments. So
Mhm.
tangible things that you can put the QR code on, that's going to be the best way that they are implemented. Now, getting to the QR code, we've talked a little bit about how to use them, how they can be valuable. How do we make them? The
Mhm.
cool thing is if you are creating things in Canva already, then you've saved yourself a few steps. But for our purposes today, I'm going to go and, you know what, I'm going to open up some of the things that I've already made, because I think that might be easier to show you guys how to generate one and just pop it onto a document. Okay, so here is a document that I finished earlier this week. This is called our stacks document. And this basically is everything that the mothership and Remax One does to provide value, but we've tried to condense it down to bite-sized pieces that you can incorporate as part of a daily routine.
Mm.
Because what we hear is, oh my gosh, I would love to do this if I had a tool that did it for me. And I'm like, we do, but people don't realize it because Remax is very extensive when it
Yeah, it
comes to
is.
the tools and the tech. So it can quickly become overwhelming. So that was why this document was born. You know what? I'm not going to zoom my screen. I'm going to zoom the document. So say that I wanted to create a QR code for this document that you guys see here on the screen. Okay. So how would I use this? Brand new agent comes in. They don't know what kind of system to create for each day. They don't know where to start. Great. Here's a document that I've printed for you that I'm going to give you to take home with you to put at your home office. Okay. If you run into any issues, or if you want a video of how to incorporate this, just scan the QR code on the document. That is how I would do it if I was going to go in that direction.
You can link it to videos too.
Yes, ma'am, all day long.
I
It's
didn't
a
think
link
about that.
that can go. So any link.
I like that. I just
any
never
link.
thought about that. That's so good.
So that's how I would use this. Now,
very cool.
on the left-hand side, which is your main menu, this is where you would go to click on elements, your photos that you've uploaded, text. If you scroll down just a little bit, and you guys are going to see some of my folders, yours is may look a little different depending on how many folders you have. But the option that you should see regardless is the little option that says QR code. You'll click on that. And here's the little box that pops up. It says, hey, add the URL, and we're going to automatically create the QR code for you to add to your design. People will scan the QR code to reach that web page that you include, or that link that you include. Okay, so I would, for example, go to our YouTube channel, because now all of our documents and all of our class recordings live there. And what I would want to do is grab a link up here. It's thinking. So you guys can see here's our whole library of classes. Okay. So what I would want to do is go up to like the dashboard, so to speak, and then look for, you know what, let's do this the other way. I'm going to go into content and say that I just wanted to send this video, right? I just want to send this video to help them. So what I can do is find the link somewhere. I clicked on the wrong thing. Hang tight. This details, analytics, where is, right there. Okay, if you're in YouTube, those 3 little dots for options, get the shareable link, The link is automatically copied to my clipboard. Okay. So then I would go back to Canva, and that link is what I'm going to paste right there. Okay. Once you paste a link into that box, you'll see that that button just popped up, that white button that says generate code. You'll click on that and look, guys, there's the QR code. Okay. So you can change the color,
Oh, wow.
make it look however you want so that it really pops on the page.
I never seen them in different colors.
Isn't that fun?
Yeah.
So I'm going to do red, and then I can make this as big or as small as I like. So I would put this probably here, somewhere like that, with a little thing that says, hey, scan here, right? So again, you are not limited to anything, and you don't have to do anything except know the link of where you want the QR code to point them to. Here's the other cool thing about Canva QR codes. You're like, oh God, so it made a code. How will I find it if I want to put it on other things? Guess where it puts it for you automatically? In your photos, in your upload. So every time you create a code, it's going to automatically move it over here. So what you can then do so that you keep it straight in your head is to click on these little dots in the top right corner of the image. And you guys can do this to any image that you've uploaded. Okay. You'll click on that, and then you can move it to a folder if you wanted to that says QR code for this document. QR code for this document, so that you don't ever have to question what QR code am I using.
Oh, yeah,
Oh,
that's
so
a
you
good
can't-
idea.
You can't name it.
So normally you could, like through here, if I wanted to download this and then rename it and then upload it again, you could. For whatever reason, it doesn't like, or it doesn't give you the option to change the name from within the photo after you've uploaded it, which is annoying.
It is annoying. Yeah, I forgot about that.
But, or you could just do like a folder that says QR codes. Totally up to you. I think it's not a bad idea, honestly, to download the QR code to your computer and just name it whatever that QR code is, because you may want to send it to like Vistaprint
Mhm.
or Triangle Blueprint if they're printing anything for you in bulk. That way you have it on your computer as an attachment that you can send to other vendors. So I think that there's some benefit of downloading it. Just know that you don't have to. It will live in your Canva images automatically. Yeah. We even had an agent include a QR code on her signs, like her yard signs, Sarah. And because she was like, am I allowed to do this? And I was like, yes,
Sarah.
Steinberg.
Oh, yeah, I like that
Mhm.
too. Yeah.
So there aren't any restrictions on that. I mean, you could literally, like, I know some people like to do the cute messages on the riders. You could put a little code that says like, hey, scan me for more info, and
And
bring
make it
them
pretty
to like your
talented,
website, just your
yeah.
general website showing all the
Or the
listings.
website with the listing, yeah, even, that's so cool. I
Yeah,
love the possibilities, everything.
QR codes are
Nice.
fun. It kind of takes the place of like, do you guys remember kind of back in the real estate days? And some people still do this, where it's like the little box of flyers. If you didn't want the maintenance of that, you could literally just have a rider that says scan here for more details, and it brings them to your website that shows that listing and all of the other
I love
listings.
that.
So I think that's a really good way to
Mhm.
generate traffic back to your website, your specific website, not just a
Mhm.
general one.
Yes.
I would totally do that. If I were y'all, I would have a rider. I would make a ton of riders to accompany every single one of my signs that had a QR code on the left-hand side that said scan here for more information, and boom, there you go.
If you wanted to do it for just that particular listing, you could just use the same QR code.
Totally.
But
Lady,
have to
you
keep
can do
up
that,
with
can't you?
which
Once
ones
the
are which.
QR code is generated and it's printed, it is extremely difficult, because what you guys will
Oh, yeah.
notice
Oh, I think
is
it
the
could
way
change
that
a little
these,
bit.
like, do you see those little dots and
Okay.
stuff? That is how the link is seen, if that makes sense, like in the eyes of,
That's a good question though. for
Here.
learning all about
So
it.
there's nowhere really to get that could change.
you wouldn't want to. That's why I said the
Oh,
more
okay.
generic, the better.
Okay.
Because once you generate a QR code and you attach a link to it,
You can't just change the name.
you'd have to create and generate a new code.
But maybe if you did like flowers for an open house or something, you know what I mean? I don't know if you'd need that. I don't know.
QR codes are best
Yeah,
if they
kinda.
are more stagnant, like documents that serve all year long. QR codes are best. Like, that's why you see them used for things like menus. Menus very rarely change, because you have to generate a new code every time, which means you'd have to reprint anything that you've already printed. So if you wanted to go the sign direction, for example, like Sarah did, that code is only going to one place. That's why she's able to print so many signs with the code.
Now, let me ask you something.
Mhm.
If it's going to the website, but you may change the website, that doesn't affect it, right? Okay, good.
Because
So
the
that-
link never
yeah.
changes.
Okay.
Mhm. Mhm. Do you have any other questions? Those are good questions.
Just thinking about the pictures, you know what I mean? Like if you do it to your personal information and then you get new headshots, does it change or am I gonna always look like 2021?
As long as the link doesn't change.
Yeah.
Like the website link that you guys have as agents, that link never changes, but the content does on the page. Anytime you have a new listing, anytime the office gets a new listing, the content is constantly being refreshed, but the web address never changes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Gotta go to the bathroom, but I'm scared to miss anything.
Well, it's a really short class. I mean, that literally is all there is to
Oh,
it.
good.
It's very, very easy with
Yeah,
Canva.
I created one to my buyer form.
There you go.
And it worked.
There you
I
go.
was like, that's exciting.
It is.
That is
And
exciting.
it's, I mean, I feel like typically like,
Nobody does my buyer forms. I've tried to use them.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
had
really?
one
Yeah.
person fill it out.
yeah.
Ah, They just want to talk to give you their information.
Mhm.
That's not fun.
It's because most people are probably bored or lonely and they're like.
You
"Oh,
know,
just
I
wanna
will
keep
say
you on the
though,
phone."
for those that would rather say it verbally, nothing would stop me from going into that form and filling it out based on what they're telling me. Because if,
I do have a written form, printed out form that I fill
Yes.
out while
Yeah.
I'm talking to them. but-
yes, well, and I was gonna say too, like
But I
if you're
guess-
going the Google form direction and they're not really loving the idea of filling it out, or if you're having trouble getting them to fill it out, while they're telling you, I would complete the form as if you're them. And then that way you have it, that's gonna automatically go into that Google sheet that keeps that data for you.
Oh,
So you would
yeah.
have a backup electronically as well.
Okay, well then I'm gonna get. written
Ashley
forms.
was saying that she does it with her drink forms
Mhm.
now and sends out the Google form for her drinks whenever she
Mhm.
does the
Yeah,
Sonic drinks to them. And they fill it out, their drink request, I guess, and I'm sure it has their email too. And so it
Yeah.
all comes back and that's a good way to capture them. I thought it was really good.
mhm. Awesome. Well, if you guys don't have any more questions, then I'm, super pumped for y'all to go and play with these QR codes. If you run into any snags, let me know, but very simple tool, very effective tool. All thanks to our good friend Canva. So, all right, y'all have a good day. Becky, good to see you.
Hi, Becky.
If you need anything, you just let us know.
Is she at home?
Mhm.
I
Yeah.
love that she's home, but she's still got her Remax pin on. You repping it. sis.
Honey, it's on my
Honey,
robe when I
I
go
love
to
it. I love it.
I won't wear it to the funeral tomorrow, though.
You know.
Yeah. Susan.
I do have my,
Hey, may I ask you, what happened? Because I saw her boyfriend got in a car accident the same day, huh? Was
a
it?
few hours after they had found her son. It's probably an apparent heart attack. No idea of knowing if he was lying there 20 hours or whatever before he was found. But yeah, and so when she called me, I thought she was laughing and she was in hysterics, crying. And I thought she had accidentally dialed me because we had had a long conversation earlier that day, which was a week ago.
Yeah.
Maybe, yeah. So anyway, I said, oh, I think she's just misdialed me. And I heard her say, I need your help. And so then I went, oh, okay, yeah, no, this is her being hysterical and I can't understand. But anyway, she went to see him yesterday. And of course, they don't have his coloring right because people don't use green makeup on purple. But anyway, I'm not there to do it. So anyway, she that went well. I think she stayed calm. And then a few hours later, Jim was in that horrible wreck and both shins broken and his big toe. So she's had a lot on her plate to try to keep up with and stuff. So yeah, so thankfully, Mo is getting together a lovely meal for them tomorrow, and
Okay.
I'll go over after the service and help Mo get set up for it and everything for him. So anyway, and today's her birthday. Gotta love the timing.
In the middle of all of it. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's right.
And of course it makes sense. I mean, it's not like you never know, but when you see them before, because we got Daddy ready and we got Aunt Connie ready and all that, but it does having them look normal. It's
Mhm.
such a important part of the healing
Yes.
process. There's nothing worse, and I mean, with the ones you've lost, to show up and be like, what the hell? Yeah, and I don't know what all goes into it. You know more than us, Becky, because I always think, is it something about how they died that does it? Is
It
it something
can.
with how they do? Because, you know, I
Yes.
have some loved ones that don't look like themselves
It's
at
how the blood
all.
pulls.
Yeah.
A
That's
lot of it is who's working there too, because we have so many tricks up our sleeves. We have so much magic. We have so many things, if we are not lazy, that are at our disposal, and just
But that really
being
makes
creative and you know, God helping you, you know, do. I mean, God caused me to be able to put out some amazing results, but it was totally Him. But yeah, stereotypically, if you have a heart attack, you'll be kind of the color of my sweater. You'll be kind of purpley. So, you know, and most people just don't know much to do with the cosmetics and things. It's more difficult on a man because makeup on a man is not.
my daddy he looked better than he did alive at the end.
Mine did too.
You know, and it was so nice because to
Yeah.
have that as the last way to see him was
Mhm.
just like, wow, they look so peaceful. You know what I mean?
Final memory
Versus
picture.
when they look
Yeah.
really
totally.
bad.
A final
I-
memory picture. So
Who's
It is,
managing
yeah.
the services? Is it Broussard's
no, she's having it at Forest Lawn.
or
And
something?
12:30 to I guess until 2 will be visitation. And then at 2 o'clock, there will be a closed casket service. Then, of course, they'll go to the gravesite after. I won't, because I'll go help set up food. But
Of course, Lon, I know that. And I
All the
can't-
way down Pine
Okay.
or at Pine
Yeah.
and Lucas.
And that's the old cemetery there? Yeah.
It's the big one that's sprawled way
Yeah,
out in
my
the
Uncle
back.
Jimmy's buried there. It's a beautiful cemetery. It
Yeah, it
really
is.
is.
nice,
Very nice.
perpetual care. Yeah, I've done lots of services there.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Give Susan our love.